needed to admit, because my addiction brought me to God. He used that. He used what the devil was trying to kill me with to draw me to Him, to where I accepted Him and got born again. I mean, I went there because I was messed up, and my prayer was, help! You know what I mean? That's not my prayer was, help, man, I can't get out of this. So I guess I'll try God because nothing else is working. Well, then, guess what? I accepted Him, and then He started doing the work in me, but I had to keep pressing in and pressing after Him, you know? So I think the first key is being able to admit that there's some issues going on here, whatever it is, that I've got a problem with whatever it is, and then be willing to let God in and then do whatever God wants. I don't know if you remember this, and now this is kind of funny, but I think it ties in. Remember when I drove you over there, and I told you, hey man, you can't smoke in there?
Oh yeah.
And you looked at me.
That was the day, you know. That was the day.
What do you mean I can't smoke cigarettes? I said, man, you can't smoke cigarettes. What? They ain't gonna let you smoke cigarettes in there. And so then you went out and had your one last cigarette, but that was your one last cigarette, huh?
Well, I didn't even finish it. I remember it specifically. I didn't even know it until they started going through my suitcases. And I had all these packs of cigarettes in there. They said, you can't smoke. What? You can't smoke? I thought that was the thing I could hold on to. You know, I'd smoked for even longer than the drugs, you know. And I said, okay, well, and I started smoking a cigarette. I think that was a big, what happened right there was big. Also because I didn't finish that cigarette. It was like, and about halfway through that thing, it's like, what are you doing? It's always been one more, one more, one more. And I was ready to forget the one more. What is that going to do for you? You're going to stop. It's time now. And I don't know if you remember that, but I just threw that thing down and said, let's, you know, forget that. Yeah. And I was ready to surrender. And I think that was a big decision. You know, something, a mindset that happened with me at that time. That there's no more. You don't need another. You don't need one more cigarette. What does that mean? It's
a willingness. I think it boils down to willingness. You're just, whatever it's gonna. I mean, for me, it was just like I can remember sitting one place. And I don't know if I said it. I know I voiced it afterwards, but I can remember sitting and telling the Lord, you know what? If I got to go stand in the corner on my head, because that's what you tell me I got to do, I'm willing to go stand in the corner on my head if that's what you tell me to do to get this monkey off my back. And I truly meant that in my heart. If He'd asked me to have done it, I would have went and done it. And I really meant it in my heart. That isn't what He asked me to do. He asked me to do other things. But I think it was that willingness to just do whatever He's asking me to do to get it off my back, man. And I mean, and to be honest with you, my whole thing to come to God was to get this thing off me. But then it turned around where I started realizing that's not really what it's about. It's about a relationship with God, and it's way more than getting this monkey off my back. There's so much more out there. That's just something that was used to keep me from getting to everything that God had. And I think we have to become willing to expose ourselves. Then we have to be willing to open ourselves up to God and let God in. I think a key is people being around you that are willing to help you.
Yes.
If you're sitting out there and you're saying, well, I hear you guys talking, both you guys were lucky somebody was around you to help you, but you'll be honest with you, when I came into church, I came in to play basketball. I stepped my foot into Abundant Life Foursquare Church to play basketball because I love basketball, and I wanted to play basketball, and I couldn't play with the people I used to play with because I know where that was going to go. I was going to go back to the old ways. And so I set my foot inside a church to play basketball. I ended up getting saved. And so once I got in the church, then God brought people around me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
For me, Pastor Bob, God bless him, man, because I was in his office every day, man. Every day I was in his office asking him questions. I was over at Luis and Socorro's house asking questions. I was over at John Orcajo's house. All these friends of mine that I'd known before, they found the Lord. I was hanging out asking questions now. But see, I think the key was I decided to start seeking. I started going, hey, can I come over and hang out at your house? I want to talk to you about this God thing. And I was hungry. I wanted to learn something. But then God placed these different people around me that were willing to sit there and listen to what I had to say, ask goofy questions, maybe have some goofy ideas. I guess the biblical word for this would be disciple you.
Yeah.
That would be the spiritual word to use. They were willing to just be there and listen to you and help you going through what you're going through. That's a key. That you know. And if you're out there wondering, well, what about me? Can I tell you there's lots of people out there that are willing to come alongside you and help you walk you through this?
Yes.
There's lots of good churches out here in the Hollister community, over in the community of Gilroy, or wherever you're hearing this what we're talking about. There are churches that with people in it, just like Jeff and me, that have come out of things like that are willing to help you, that they want to help you, that they you know, God pulled me out of what He pulled me out of, not just so I could be free, but so I could pull other people out of that and help them in their freedom. Yeah. So if you're looking for someplace, I suggest start looking at a church. I mean, I went to a 12-step program, and I have nothing against 12-step programs whatsoever, because if people would really get honest about 12-step programs, they were founded originally. In fact, I talked to some old-timers, and they gave you this little book. I had one, and I don't know whatever happened to it. And it was Corinthians and something else in it. And if you look at the original founding thing, they told you, come to these meetings, get plugged into a church, and get the Bible and read it. And someplace along the way, some places they've lost that. You know, not all 12 steps have lost at meetings, but some have. And it's biblically based. The 12 steps are biblically based off of biblical scriptures. And so, you know, there are good programs and churches out there to get plugged into, but the main thing is getting plugged into God, man. And God will bring somebody around you to help you. We just got to do our part.